he had Gara on no mana. And he didn't have that. He had like 6, 7k mana. He just removed Divine Plea, which can't be dispelled now with on Protection, but can on Holy. Yep. That means you get 100% healing rather than 50%. And those Flash of Lights through Sacred Shield were absolutely ridiculous. Also, I mean, if you get an Earth Shield on him as well, it just means that he's pretty much invincible, even to 2 DPS. But we are going to go back into round 2, and you can see some changes then. So we are going to see Naef on the Druid still. Ipone is now going to be playing Paladin, Ret Paladin, and we've got Acronis going to be playing that Rogue. So we've got a really strong front line Rogue Ret Paladin combo, which you've seen also in 2v2s, backed up by the Druid, going versus still the same lineup, Protection Paladin, Shaman, and also a Warrior. So where their kill comes from, I'm not sure. Is it going to be more strenuous on the Rogue? I don't think so, because I honestly think the one is going to have a harder time, and I think the damage is going to be greater here.
Yeah. Also to remember, Rogue is his main class, and he's got Sanchez targeted right now. He's
he looks like he got pulled out, and he's going to be instantly hodged. There comes a charge onto the back of Acronis, and also the Ret Paladin's going to join the fight to go onto the one. And it looks like they're going to be beating on the Warrior. And also, bear in mind, as soon as the Warrior gets in stuns, they cannot remove him with freedoms. And I don't think he's a good spec.
Acro, he just used the blind onto Sanchez. I'm not sure if Sanchez used his trinket. He might well have done, because he's out of it now. He's sitting in an HOJ. Acro has to1 targeted, and to1's just going to kite away and use his piercing howl. But look at this, Acro does have freedom.
Yeah, well, Acro is just trying to get back onto his target. Looks like he's got Sanchez there. Now he's got Gara targeted. There comes a Blade Storm, and that is going to be targeted towards Naef. Naef is going to be able to get away. Mortal Strike goes back up. That dropped actually during the Blade Storm, allowed him to heal back up. But both of these DPS are really kind of concentrating on the Warrior. If you can get him stunned, if you can get him locked down, chances are he's not doing that much damage. And if he wants to challenge both of you, you know, being able to have him slow, maybe get behind him, could mess up his DPS.
Look
but actually,
at that,
Acronis is going to go really, really low. There comes a Vanish. Gets pulled out of the Vanish, actually, it looked like. Let's switch over to him, see if he did get pulled out. He did get pulled out of that Vanish, even though he had Cloak of Shadows up just before he used it. So low, and finally gets healed up.
Yep, to1 is going to still have him targeted. Maybe try and get those overpowers in while he's got evasion up. But yeah, Acro moving away now and back again. Yeah. Sitting in a 5-point kidney, is piling on that damage.
It doesn't seem like this lineup is working very, very well whatsoever. Innovate has been used on the Druid. Now, Innovate is actually looking to be taken away there. It looked like some of it got dispelled, but actually, no, he's safe now. Some of it, well, some buffs got dispelled. And Acronis will be back center. Gara gets put into a kidney. And there comes a bop. That's going to save him for time. That's going to be unremovable, and you can see no Cyclones coming in to kind of prevent healing. And if you look at the mana on the Protection Paladin, he's still at 11k. And they've really not been able to burn anybody down. And I don't think they're going to get a surprise kill by training to1. Can they get him out of place? I think Naef is going to have to land like a really couple of clutch Cyclones for them to be able to do this. to1, Earth Shield up, not going to be removed.
They're
Sacred Shield
lacking
up,
coordination and they're lacking creativity. But the one thing I do like about how they're playing is Acro. He's using Mind Numbing on offhand, and occasionally he's popping over to Sanchez and shiving, but you know they're getting dispelled pretty quick.
And he's actually on to Gara now, goes into a kidney. Cyclone onto the Warrior, but that's not going to stop the healing coming in from the Paladin. And once again, to1 goes up in health and also in rage. And you can imagine that Acronis is going to have a hard time soon, because when this mana bar goes for Naef, if it goes before 1 minute's time, and he's also used Nature Swiftness, he's got Trinket up in just a second, and Bark Skin up in just a second too. Maybe he's going to not use that though, because yeah, he is going to use the Bark Skin. It looked like, no, he didn't use the Bark Skin, didn't need to as he kept himself up, but he's going to have to look over towards the Ret Paladin, who needs healing, and Ipone, and he's going to be healed up too. So tactics not really working for both of these teams. You've got still 1 minute, as we're not into the seconds yet on the Druids Innovate, and here we go, he's even going to get a few drinks off.
Yep, Payback Time just can't let NOP squad do that. And, you know, both teams, I mean, it's hard to differentiate both teams right now. I mean, Sanchez, he's sitting about 4k in mana. 8 is sitting at about 1.7k. I mean, you can't give the advantage to either team right now.
Yeah, well, I think they need to catch something off guard, really, Payback Time. I still put them in the advantage. 35 seconds now on the Innovate. Switching over, we've got Focus Shadows. We've also got, he's going to be on about a 1 minute cooldown, but what's probably more important to him is Dismantle. That's going to be 40 seconds later. Let's look at the Ret Paladin. We'll have his Repentance up soon, and maybe that could make something happen for the double DPS team. We'll see how he uses this. In comes a Holy Light, though, onto a Cronus to keep him up. But now the Red Paladin's out of mana, so he's going to have to... And he's actually using Judgment of Justice that second. Maybe he should have just used a slightly different Judgment to build up that mana, because he won't be able to drop out damage. And there comes the second Innovate now, so...
Gara's actually drinking up to full mana right now, and as T1 drops really, really low, but he's popped out from behind that pillar, and he's able to heal him back up now.
He does get healed back up, and I wonder if the Repentance was used. Does look like the Repentance wasn't used in that situation, so they still can do something with that. But, you know, they dipped him down low. There comes a blind onto T1, looking for a Cronus, and looking just to reopen on T1. So here we go, back onto the Warrior. What can they make happen, if anything? And Ipone is still dropping out these... Judgment of Light now onto T1 rather than Wisdom, which could have just helped him enough to get that mana back.
Oh, look at that!
Wow, yeah.
Getting caught in that Blade Storm. Ipone dropping
HP.
very, very low.
1,000, gets a heal up for 4,000 now, and Ipone keeps his life just for the moment. He's fighting and has to bubble. Shadowing Throw does come in, and it comes a charge onto the back of it. Now he's backing away to one. Looks like he could have gone back in maybe with an intercept, or that was an intercept, the first one, but didn't actually make anything happen. And, well, we have a silence on the Druid, and still maybe a good idea to go for the Ret Paladin, really. We'll have to see if that could happen slightly better later. He will have still low on the mana, dropping Judgment of Justice still. No real need onto a Warrior who's not really being able to fight anything off still. Not struggling with mana anymore, but we do have the Druid. Naif going to be full on mana. Looking for Cyclone on Sanchez. We'll get silence in that moment there. That Cyclone's not going to go through. And actually, a Cronus is dipping dangerously low. Cyclone onto Sanchez. He needs to throw those heals out for a Cronus, though. We've got one Life Bloom, probably stacking up too. There comes a 4K heal.
Regrowths and Nourishes coming out. They're going to manage to keep him up there. He is still sort of bouncing up and down a little bit.
And I honestly don't know where the tactics coming from the kill. It's the one is, you know, getting hit and he's putting out as much damage, but it's really about the back end of both of these teams. I mean, who's interrupting, who's looking to kind of, you know, can this Shaman, you know, throw in a cheeky Hex and then follow up with a Lightning Bolt, because at the moment he's playing very defensive and he's going to need to drink now. So Sanchez is going to have to heal, and this is interesting because if they go for Sanchez while Gara's out of mana, it's going to be very, very dangerous for him. In comes a Flash of Light. Looks like it was Fate, didn't go through. There comes the second one, hits for 4.2k. Another one for 4.3k, and Sanchez is going to be okay in this situation. Gara's going to be full on mana and is going to rejoin the fight very soon, and they've really made nothing happen in that situation. And we have only 8 seconds left on for a new Innovate, which is Tasty, Tasty Innovate, non-mana, as Naif is going to get back up in health. And these two German teams are just, I think they're enjoying playing too much that they just don't want to kill each other.
Blade Storm does actually come out to one, but it puts a little bit of pressure onto Ipone. But I think NOP, they really need to change things up here now. They can't consistently let Gara drink and drink and drink. It's just not working. Obviously, Acro is being kited most of the time, so he's in a bad spot. But Teldalol, he seems to be pretty comfortable throughout this game, and he could have kept Gara in combat.
I don't know why they can't get a kill, to be honest, on the Ret Paladin or the Rogue. I just put out all my damage as possible on either one of the targets, Ret Paladin or Rogue, and then just make sure the Shaman throws in some offensive abilities. Yep. I mean, even the Protection Paladin can drop some DPS if he wanted to without having to silence. You don't probably even need to silence the Druid to get a kill here. You just actually need to get a good string of damage from all your teammates, and they really haven't had that coordination. Gara is going to be caught into a kidney. Going to be out of that. It's going to be full health to one. I
just don't get why they're not on the ball when it comes to keeping each other in combat. Maybe T1 is just doing such a good job of you know, cycling those hamstrings. But Acro, Moment. He's still on the back of to 1. He's switched over to Gara right now, and this could be a nice window of opportunity to do some damage. That was a 5-point kidney. Gara down to 2k. They're teaming up here, trying to get that damage on. Wound is up. This could be a kill for them. They've certainly got the opportunity. Interrupt on lesser healing wave. Can they put pressure on Sanchez?
A bubble from Sanchez will actually make sure that nothing happens in that situation. Now, I would like to see to 1 now just drop damage on either the Rogue or the Ret Paladin, and just get like a backup from both his teammates in that situation. Obviously, we don't have the offensive Holy Shocks, but we still do have interrupts on the shields. There comes a Cyclone on Sanchez. to 1 dropping reasonably low.
Oh, look at this Blade Storm coming out. That's going to take Acro down.
Yeah.
And another good game for Sanchez's Payback Time.
Yeah, and about time something like that happened. All they really needed was coordination. I mean, the fight went on so long for a Rogue and Ret Paladin. Honest to God, I don't know why the coordination was lacking in so many times, but, you know, good bit of coordination. Did finally get Payback Time the kill, and they will go 2-0 up, and I think they could play that a lot better, a lot quicker, and, you know, a single Druid, you know, you can potentially turn into 3 DPS when you want to, and a single Druid, if you catch him out when he doesn't have Hots up on somebody, you know, you can destroy him. And, you know, these Cyclones as well for Payback Time from to 1 can really, you know, mess up the Druid's mana and positioning, because that's going to, you know, affect him. But I can also see on screen, by the way, that Chroma, is looking at his combat log.